And then I just want to check in, can everybody in the back hear me fairly well, or does this need to be turned up? We're good in the back? Excellent, thank you. Additionally, if you guys have an empty cup or any napkins or so on, there's a trash can up where you got your beverages, and there's also one behind the counter. So when you leave, I appreciate it if you bring those down up to us, and that would be great. We do, of course, have Bill's book at the counter, so the trick of the evening is he's going to be signing them at the wooden table that's in the middle of the store. So what you guys are going to do, instead of congratulating him and telling him he did a wonderful job when he's standing here, you're going to let him go all the way over there, and then you're going to buy out all the books, because they're at the counter in between here and there. So that's the plan. My name's Rosie. I'm one of the owners of the store, and I want to welcome you guys here on this very, very hot, I think the first 90-degree day of the year. Delighted to see that everybody in Sonoma both appreciates poetry, can go outside in 98 degrees, and supports each other and poetry in Sonoma. So Bill McNamara is the director, the emeritus director, correct, of what is now the Sonoma Botanical Gardens and what was then Quarry Hill. And he brings that sense of nature and the appreciation of what it means to live in the world to his poetry. I am not a poet, but I firmly believe that poems can give us the bigger truth of what life is and what life means. So if you guys can give Bill a big round of applause, he's going to tell you about them and then read us some of these poems.
Is he going to tell us what life means?
I hope so, right? Then we can all write it down, sell it, and it'll be perfect. Thank you.
There's a couple chairs up here if you want.
Sure. Can you see? Yeah, perfect.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's really nice to see everybody.
It's his ink over there on the left.
And family is here, and friends, and new people, and old people, and so this is nice. It's very nice. So there's a few people I want to thank. I want to thank Readers Books first for doing this. It's just fantastic that they do this on a regular basis to support writers, so thank you for that. And then Colette is here, who was the publisher of my first book, and I'm gonna get in trouble because I have to pronounce a French woman's name, and I'm gonna brutalize it.
Oh, you're going to do fine.
She's been trying to help me, but I've not been doing well. And I want to thank Peter and Karen. I don't know if they're here to thank them. They gave us some wine for the reception. And my old friend Bill Hawley, he gave us some wine for the reception as well. And Nancy.
My honor.
Nancy Bunshu also gave us some wine. So thank you to all those who gave us wine. I appreciate it. So poetry is a funny thing, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about poetry, and then I started thinking that maybe it's really presumptuous to think you could write a poem. And then I thought maybe it's even more presumptuous to try and get it published. And then I said maybe the most presumptuous of all is to read it to people like you. And then it occurred to me, maybe I should stop thinking. So I practiced that on my friend Gary a couple days ago. He wanted to make sure I got it right. So can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Turn it up.
A little more, okay?
Closer to the mic.
Yeah, you change the mic so it's closer to your mouth.
Just closer.
Okay, I'll try and be, is that better?
Yes.
Is that better?
A little better.
Okay,
Move it closer to you.
Bring
yeah.
it closer to you.
This first poem that I'm going to read is about a tree that was given a very unusual name. Those who know me know I'm very fond of trees. And this is a tree whose demise caused the creation of one of our newest national parks. It's called Prometheus. Coming home from the east on the loneliest road in America, Wheeler Peak rising in the distance, some snow remaining, determined to see Prometheus, at least what's left of it. cut down in 1964 in the name of science, believed to be the oldest living tree, 4,900 years, gone in an instant, trying to improve the world and only making matters worse. We drove up the switchbacks, climbing rapidly to over 10,000 feet, now towering over the Nevada and Utah desert. Began the hike crossing icy streams, patches of snow, sliding on scree, had to turn back that I might be tied to a rock and have my liver devoured. And I thought of Mary Shelley and all our technological innovations that have caused our earth to warm and that have led to the vanishing of countless plant and animal species. He gave us fire all those years ago, stolen from the gods. Might have been the beginning of our downfall.
Probably.
Wow.
It was a bristlecone pine, and the park is now called the Great Basin National Park. I have a good friend who lives in the Sierras, and I get together with him a couple times near this really unusual but small waterfall up beyond Sierra City. And this is called Call Me. Call me when the deep snows melt. Call me when the blue sky is cloudless. The perpetual waterfall is calling, as are the sexless trout and the red wine. Call me to the place where the Sierra Buttes rise in the distance, where old men talk of ancient ways, where stories never die, where memories are born and forgotten, where eternity is all at once.
Yeah, it is.
This is about a French singer-songwriter, and she was an actor as well. She died, I think, 2 years ago. And legend has it that even Bob Dylan had a mad crush on her. And it's called A Loveliness of Ladybugs. Infatuation with Francoise Hardy was not uncommon in those trying times. Her loveliness in voice, song, and grace, long after a loveliness of ladybugs, gathered in the thousands, called forth by the Virgin, who wisely whispered, not unlike a song, a loveliness is a loveliness is a loveliness. I've actually never heard her song, so I played one today. And apparently she was very, very famous in France. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
I also learned a couple years ago about Mormon crickets, something I'd never heard of before. And my good friend who's here tonight told me that it's because of Mormon crickets and what happened in 1848 in Utah when they were destroying the crops, that seagulls came from California, the California gull, and it is now the state bird of Utah because it devastated the crickets.
That's great.
This is called Mormon crickets. Pulled into Cold Spring Station, hungry and looking for breakfast. Not there for the Pony Express. Stepped out of the car. Mormon crickets everywhere. Hundreds of them, large and black, crawling along the ground. Momentarily, I was concerned about a biblical plague, that I lacked the seal of God on my forehead, and that I might be tormented for 5 months. Then I remembered my irreverence. But I also remembered that John ate locusts and wild honey. While I pondered their taste, I looked out on Highway 50. No cars or trucks, only the Desitoya Mountains, and I waited for a strong west wind. Another day on the loneliest road in America. This is, we have a son in Mammoth Lakes, and this is about one of our visits there. It's called Rising. 1 million or more Mariposa lilies rising through the antelope bush and artemisia, not to be outdone by an equal showing of bright blue flax and 1,000 other wildflowers. And as we let the dogs run free in search of squirrels and streams, in the forest and meadows under Mammoth Mountain, her magma rising again from her last eruption 700 years ago. Frequent small earthquakes leave cracks in the crust. CO2 rising, killing the roots of the firs and pines, perishing as the mountain rumbles and the dead trees tumble, as all wonder how long it will be until the volcano rises again and buries everything she can see. There's a beautiful valley, I'm sure many of you know it, called Sierra Valley, and it's the headwaters of the Feather River. This is called Sierra Valley. Water rising up in the Great Valley, Cascades to the north, Sierras to the south. Swallows dive and swoop over and under the Marble Hot Springs Bridge. Yellow-headed blackbirds flit and perch. Our words float out over the marsh. Songs of remembrance merge with cattails, iris, and pond lilies, while the Maidu gather willow shoots for their baskets that hold paradise. As two sandhill cranes return again and again, lovers for eternity, where the river begins its journey to the sea. This must be where the world begins. You don't need to clap.
Can we whistle?
Better than raspberry.
One of my big heroes is Henry David Thoreau, probably pretty obvious if you know me. And when he was dying, apparently his very last words were, "Now comes good sailing." And that's the title of this book. Now comes good sailing. He was only 44 when he died. Too many die far too young. A friend told me about his awakening when he was 50. My epiphany came on a mountain in China. I was 40 and collecting acorns from low-growing evergreen oaks. Life may be half over, searching for meaning. What will you say as you lay dying in that primordial paradise of the timeless moment?
Good sailing.
This is kind of a strange one, but I'm going to read it anyway. It's called Energy Disperses and Systems Dissolve into Chaos. It's about a trip to Maui. What was I to do? Staring at the endangered and protected Hawaiian monk seal resting on the beach, along with dozens of bikini-clad beauties, maenads on the hunt, and hundreds of sunburned, overweight, young and old on their way to diabetes, talented surfers on a distant 6-foot break. This before I wandered underneath the massive banyan tree, hand-delivered from India, Ficus bengalensis, planted in 1873 for all the wrong reasons, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the first Protestant mission, with one goal and one goal only: to destroy the indigenous culture. Now covers almost 2 acres, providing interest and welcome shade to the thousands of curious tourists. Walking among the enigmatic aerial roots under which Kassapa, the 24th Buddha, attained enlightenment, sacred in India, where it is known as the strangler fig. As the sea rises and laps at the doors of the retreats or resorts, will the fig begin to strangle those that built this monstrosity, that made the flora and fauna of this tropical paradise the most endangered in our country? That's really a truth. That's a very sad thing, that Hawaii is the most endangered flora in the United States. This is called Under the Breadfruit Tree, also in Maui. Under the Breadfruit Tree. There was a rainbow every morning, rising from the shores of Molokai, from the ashes of the dead lepers. As we indulged in the Maui playland of swimming pools, spas, and alcohol, under the warm, bright sun, resort after resort lining the shores, and the cool ocean waters, chasing the grand turtles and magnificent fish, snorkeling in the blue sea, reeking of toxic sunscreen. And later, a myna bird landed on my shoulder, whispered in my ear, "Are you here too to destroy this paradise?" You kind of get the hint of what I'm interested in. This is learning about friends dying, and I'm at the age, as are most of you, when it seems like every few months another friend, or we hear of an acquaintance that has now died. So this is called grieving. A reenactment is longed for, even needed, but nothing is ever the same. As you say, dreams to be loved. The emptiness is endless, cold as the clay. You can always come back, but you can't come back all the way. We will all lose everything, either before or after our time. Hearts joined in eternity, a song of trees reaching for the light. Impossible not to weep. There's an interesting word it's a fairly new word that's been tossed around quite a bit lately called anatheism. And it means to find the sacred outside of religion or outside of traditional religions. Anatheism. Where the sacred might live, something at once urgent and original. The possibility of encountering the divine again, and for the first time, by surrendering certainty and embracing the soundless dark. It exists both before and after the loss. As you question, what happened? When told by the marauding, murdering, raping, conquerors, colonizers, that they needed to be saved, the indigenous replied, "Other than from you, saved from what?" They had no need to encounter the divine again. It was always there, never forgotten. This is sort of on the same theme. This one is called Hesitation. Early this morning, while I was getting her another cup of coffee, Jojo spotted 3 coyotes running through the snow under the fir trees. I considered calling out to them, asking if they knew, how does the greatest wrong transform to the highest right? But hesitated and thought about the last 10,000 years of domestication, greed, inequality, misogyny, slavery, murder, exploitation of animals and plants, obliteration of their habitats. As I considered these horrors, the 3 coyotes disappeared, over the horizon, searching, I believe, for the previous 2 million years. And this is my attempt at a little humor, which I'm not very good at. It's called, excuse me, it's called massive gravitons. As I was hunting for evidence of extra dimensions, something I tend to do late at night, I wondered, could dark matter be an extra-dimensional cosmic refugee? Could I too be an extra-dimensional cosmic refugee? Beyond the 3 dimensions of space and the 4th dimension, time. And like dark matter, my dark night does not interact with the light, except when I turn on the light. Yet its gravitational influence is felt everywhere in the universe. This is what prevents galaxies from flying apart. It matters, because that's what prevents me from flying apart. Gravitons decay slowly, remaining stable over the lifetime of the universe. I too thought about remaining stable, but I wondered if, like the gravitons, perhaps I too was created in a picosecond after the Big Bang.
That was funny.
Thank you. And this one's about my lovely wife who somehow puts up with me and all this poetry stuff. It's called, excuse me. It's called Deep Adaptation. She suddenly had a change of mind that had nothing to do with eschatology, but rather, why do we do what we do? Not much time left. Waiting for the snow to melt and getting rid of superfluous stuff. Fir trees calling. Can one adapt to a semi-sedentary life and find what is hidden while others wait to die or proselytize? That's when she put on her visor with no need to talk and went for a walk. We've had a couple wonderful trips to Colombia, where our daughter lived with her family for 4 years. And one of the trips, we spent a lot of time on the Magdalena River. And those of you who don't know Colombia, the Magdalena almost runs the entire length of Colombia, starting in the south and then running north into the Caribbean Sea. Magdalena River. It was very hot and dry in Honda on the Magdalena River. Our hotel had run out of water. Earlier, we saw the endangered gray-faced monkey high in the canopy of the tropical rainforest on the River Claro, while sandflies, not seen, bit my legs, now covered in itchy red welts. Later, in a torrential downpour, in a high-elevation rainforest, Jojo saw what appeared to be a young tapir running across the path. But we were wet to the bone, and later sipping hot coffee, I kept thinking of the Magdalena, the heart and artery of Colombia, named by the Spanish in 1501 after the beloved Mary Magdalene, as they killed and destroyed the livelihood of the Panche and the Yarigüe and the Muisca culture as the Spanish traveled south, slashing through the entire country in their mad hunt for gold, while the Magdalena made its way north to the warm waters of the Caribbean Sea. And this is one, I don't really understand it, but it's called transmigration. Transmigration. Might I change the last line to appears the one most loved But I couldn't stop thinking about, becomes the thing most loved? Which was it, becomes or appears? Not only that, I couldn't stop thinking about transmigration of the soul. Was it before, during, and then after? Metempsychosis, he said, frowning. It's Greek, from the Greek. That means the transmigration of souls. And then I remembered my granddaughter, and your granddaughter, and with a silent smile of serenity, that's you I'm talking about, and with a silent smile of serenity, and I knew it was okay to grow old, okay to make room for the future, as oak trees prepared for the spring. This is Sienna.
This is the one that's been running up and down the aisle, everybody.
One more here. This one is called Unconcerned. I was trying to walk away from civilization, but I couldn't stop thinking about the red supergiant going supernova, seen for the first time, but not by me. Instead, I saw two red-shouldered hawks, one high in a stately redwood tree, the other gliding gracefully above, against the azure blue, cloudless sky, with its familiar high-pitched call. Then I remembered that it happened 120 million years ago, 25 million before a single elegant magnolia graced our lonely planet. That's when I noticed that the hawks were looking down at me, unconcerned with my concern and inability to treasure the moment. Good. So that's about a third of the book. I can read a couple more, or we can finish. I'm supposed to stop it around now. My wife's giving me the...
How about questions?
Yes?
Can you read the poem about the tree growing in the city?
About the what?
The tree
Oh,
growing
the tree,
in the
yes,
city.
I'll read that one. This is about, I can find it here.
It's hard to find.
Here it is. It's called Monterey Pine. And the Monterey Pine, as I'm sure most of you know, is it's an endangered species. It only occurs naturally in the Monterey Peninsula and on some of the islands. But it's widely planted, and it's a weed tree in New Zealand where it was widely planted because it grows so fast for timber. But now everywhere it's been planted, it's become a problem, and a lot of the ones in Sonoma Valley that were planted years ago have died. They really need to be within sight of the ocean to thrive. And this is about a Monterey pine that was struggling in San Francisco. Monterey pine. I don't know. Maybe I was lonely. Don't remember who it was. Some kid, I think, planted me here when I was young, very young. Only later did I learn that it was about 120 miles from my home. My relatives there, all endangered then, still endangered, even more so now. But the kid didn't know, planting me in a concrete jungle, in crappy soil, under some strange vines, under some strange wires. The city sent someone every year or so to cut me off. I was just trying to reach the sun. And then the wind joined in. I looked around for other Monterey pines. Maybe they were there, but I couldn't see them. I guess I was just lonely and tired of the struggle. Those strange humans don't know that we have dreams too, and a heart and a soul worthy of Miles Davis with his trumpet and a smile. Thank you again, everybody. They want me to go over there, and I can sign books if you want. And it's 6:30 now, and they want everyone out of here by 7:15, so we can get the bookstore. back in order. But thank you again, everybody, I really appreciate it.